Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Aaron Nahara, head of content, and today we have a special treat for you. During our July livestream, we were joined by Borui Wang, founder and CEO of Polarr, who gave us an exclusive sneak peek at the upcoming culling update for Polarr Next. For those who attended, it was an amazing opportunity to ask Borui questions and provide feedback in real time as he showcased the exciting new features. Let's dive right into the action and see what Borui had to share with us. All right, we got our CEO, co-founder Borui Wang with us. And why don't you introduce yourself and then you can take it from there.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. This is my first time being in this live stream and started Polarr many years ago. And this is our maybe the third or fourth product, but it's also our current flagship serving pro photographers. So I'm very excited to share with you guys some of the latest roadmaps and what we're going to do next. So Polarr Next was a project that we started last April. So it's a little bit more than a year, and we've seen a lot of growth in this sector. And then our team put a lot of effort in making a all-in-one workflow, very easy to use, very easy to access. And it's also the first web browser-based workflow in the market today. So since we launched beta this March, we improved the product quite a lot. You know, it's not possible without really talking to customers. And right now we have around a couple thousand people that sign up Polarr Next. And one thing we've heard a lot is, you know, in order for this experience to be truly all-in-one, it can't just be editing. It also needs to be, you know, handling culling, given, you know, people are working on thousands of photos. So I want to show you guys some of the work that we've been doing on culling. And this is and Aaron, you know, feel free to interrupt me or if there's any questions. But that's really the context here is we started the project a year ago. Now we've have many users use our editing solutions, and now we're getting into culling. So this is the familiar interface for editing, very powerful. I think some of you already noticed that in our existing flow, we do have these color labels. You know, you can actually do different colors, and you know, you can do a range select, rate them. So you can do a little bit of culling here. Again, it's not like super powerful or anything. It's not particularly fast. You know, you can step through them pretty fast, but it's not like you can see similar photos grouped together. So the first thing we ask ourselves is, for culling, it needs to be super fast and quick. Yeah. Especially, you know, this project only have 500 photos, but what if you have 10,000 photos? Yeah. So that's crazy. The target that we wanted to do is really, you know, someone with a slow hard drive. So this is a you know, a 16 terabytes hard drive that's externally linked. And then typically someone with a wedding shoot could have like a folder of, let's say, you know, hundreds of gigabytes. And this one has 6,000 photos. So in our culling, the first question we ask ourselves is, how can we ingest these folders super quickly into the web browser? And then you can see, you know, even on it's not that fast to generate these previews on the Windows machine, just because the disk is very slow. So we need to be very smart in terms of extracting these thumbnails. And then this disk is currently at 115 megabytes per second, so it's fairly slow. So this is our, you know, first goal is to just be able to see the pictures super quickly, because, you know, the worst thing is you went on a photo shoot and then you took like a couple thousand photos and you can't even see them. Yeah. So this is our new culling workflow, where if you open this folder, we'll ask you, do you want to cull or you want to edit first? And then when you select cull, we will have a much more accelerated engine to ingest these files. So these are 5,000 photos, basically loaded up in terms of the thumbnails extremely quickly in the browser. So you basically, compared to what you're seeing in the hard drive, is much faster, because we're being very smart in terms of how we are accessing these files. And then you can step through these photos very quickly, even like at full resolution. So, you know, it's not really a problem when it comes to, be able to quickly identify photos you like, you don't like. And the other thing is we have this expanded view here to really help people look at, if people have closed eye, open eye, we have some scoring internally that will be helpful for us to process and sort and rank. But just from the human experience, right, be able to see, how is everybody's expression? And I think this is something that we learned from some of the competitor apps, and then we really like this experience. So you could, of course, you can hide this, but if you want to, you can also see this very easily. The other thing is really, when you have so many photos, how can we make this film strip a little bit shorter? So we introduced this stacked view by similarity. And what this view does, again, this is still a prototype, so the UI is still a bit broken. But you guys can get an idea of, be able to group similar photos. And then we will be able to use these scores to really select the best one. And in fact, we have this similarity slider. And what this slider does, it allows you to adjust how similar, from not very similar to very, very similar on the fly dynamically. And in this way, if I adjust similarity a little lower, you can see like this whole group is by 10.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you like a certain photo, you can still continue to rate them. You can filter them. So our entire filter experience still work. And then the goal here is really, without any delay, you could import a ton of photos, into our project view. You could look at people's faces. You can jump to any point. Let me remove this. You can jump to any point of the folder. Some of them load super quickly. You could stack them. And then after, you finish the process of, rating your favorite photos, like red is my favorite color. It's my keepers. You can move on to our, to our editing, and this button, finish and edits, will basically carry you into the next phase, which is editing. It's still very buggy, but you guys probably can see some of the bells and whistles that's already putting into the work here. And, I think this is something that will be coming out of a beta feature over the next 4 or 5 weeks. And we'll send everybody an email to try it out and tell us what you think. And then hopefully this will make that whole ingestion flow a little bit easier for everyone. So this is the calling piece that we're super excited about.
Wow. I really like that slider, stack by similarity. And then the fact that it tells you how many photos are in that stack is really helpful. That's what I'm like really impressed by. Slime for God says, is the stacking feature done by facial recognition or by similar environments?
So it's actually it's everything. So you see, there's still some metadata that's being crunched here. We're still debating, like, do we want to stack on the fly, or do we want to stack after we analyze the entire metadata? So right now, this stack is immediately shown because we're just sequentially going through the album and looking at similarities. So it's a similarity score, not necessarily by the face. And, but if you want to do more sophisticated stacking, there will be more wait time. And so far, I think this is the right balance, right? Like, I think some apps, they don't really show stack right away, but because, most of the weddings are chronological, and we're able to just sequentially read them and identify photos. The only caveat is you have 2 cameras or 3 cameras, and and then you can't really quite reconcile them until the whole metadata analysis is finished. So the stack could improve after we finish analyzing all the metadata, but this is the result when you just right off the bat and do a sequential read, detect similarity on the fly. So let me just open another album here, and then let's see. Yeah, hopefully that this can handle it. I think it's still trying to read the other one, so there's simultaneous reading. So you see, like, so this is another album, another 7,000 photos.
Wow.
Like for this one, right? There's not many faces per se. But let me reduce the stacking is still a little wonky. So I have to get back to you on like how we're leveraging the face data, but you get the idea. We want to make it quick, and and not overly rely on faces, but also not completely discounted.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool. They went on further, said, I find it annoying that when they stack group photos, it contains images of different people instead of the same people.
Yeah.
That's so good. I really like that. So if here's my question: if these albums were on your SSD or on your boot drive or whatever, would the metadata crunching and everything but be much faster?
That is true. So the way you know, we design for HDD, but if you have SSD, it's going to be like 10 times faster.
Mm.
So just to be very clear on what is metadata. So typically, you can think about raw data as a chunk of files, right? There's these thumbnails, there are the actual raw data, right? If a raw data is 100 megabyte, the thumbnail is probably like, what, 2 or 3 megabyte? And there's raw data and there's metadata. And then the reason we're able to see these thumbnails so quickly is we're not reading the whole raw files. We're skipping. We're basically reading the first chunk and then we immediately skip to the next file. And this is something, so you can see this quickly. But there will be information that's not quite available until you fully decode the raw, like, the exposure, the ISO, and everything. So this, and then fully decode the raw requires reading the whole thing, right? So if you have an SSD, some of the SSD can read like 5 gigabytes per second. I think the NVMe is 5 gigabytes per second.
Mm-hmm.
Then for 100 gigabyte, you can probably get it done in 20 seconds. But for HDD, that will be like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we're talking about like, 2 order of magnitude, that's slower. So if you have SSD, then the metadata will be crunched extremely fast. And then we will have all the information for us, the grouping to the stacking ready very quickly.
Okay. Ken's question is, what are the default rules for stack order with virtual copies?
With virtual copies. So if you create a virtual copy, let's see if you can create a virtual copy here. Yeah, you could actually. Right now, I believe, again, this is something we want to learn, is if you have a virtual copy, it will be stacked together because they're going to be visually similar.
There you go. Ken says already better than Lightroom stacking. This is exciting.
Yeah. But internal to the stack, so, when we display a stack, this stack view, by the way, is so broken right now because we're still working on the underlying. But once we're able to stack, we will rate, among the stack. There's some sort of internal score of, using the data on people's faces, on blurriness and focus. So you will see a ranking within the stack as well.
Nice. Stacking is very, very helpful for me when I'm culling. It helps to trim down that. Like I just shot a wedding the other day. It was 8,000 images and it was just able to stack it all the way down to about, I had like 1,800, I think, or something like that. And it just makes me feel like I can cull much faster rather than going through all 8,000, whatever. Being able to stack it and just go through those definitely helps. And so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and this is something that we want right now the similarity score, quite honestly, like what does even 1 mean? What does 0.1 mean? We're still tuning this. It's like maybe we just have kind of low, medium, high, and very high. And then you can click on it and you can visually see, okay, like, at medium, we're seeing, maybe like 2,000 photos is going to be selected for you. And then at high, it's going to be like 500 photos selected for you. So those are the things we're still working on.
Okay. Yeah. And like to hear from you, Borui, like how important is user feedback, even for people here that are watching this and checking out the culling? I'm sure you guys have your wish lists or things that you wish current culling softwares can do. For you, Borui, is it important to hear these feedbacks and to hear all these comments?
100%. I mean, like right now, I would say because we're so new to the market, we're still in the catching up phase. Like when the project started in last April, we are more of a consumer company. Like we build apps for consumers, not pros, in the last many years, and this is really a new organization that we're starting.
Hmm.
And we had nothing. Like, like a year ago, we didn't have a render engine. We didn't have any of these tools. So the first year was really just catching up. And catching
Hmm.
up means meet the standard of what people expect from
Hmm.
other software. And then also, calling is another example of it, right? Like, this is not new. This is
Hmm.
something that other people have done. We're just putting it all together into experience. And during this phase of catching up, and we're able to do it very quickly, the feedback is more around the usability, right? Because we want the environment to be, very integrated. Like, like how do we go from navigation from the grid view to the stack view to the different compare view. Like, there are some new stuff we're introducing, so it's more about usability. But I would say when it comes to user feedback, like 80% of it is really the usability. It's what people consider is usable, what is something that people don't understand.
Hmm.
And then there's 20% of feature requests as well. But then, I mean, like those feature requests, they all already exist in other
Yeah.
software. It's not like a new disruptive feature request. And then when we see that, we're like, yeah, we should totally have that. Like, for example, we recently have implemented the group feature. It's
Hmm.
like people, okay, I have so many preset groups, right? Can I just have groups? Right? Of course, like, Lightroom has this for ages. We just didn't have it
Yeah.
because we were prioritizing other things. So a lot of feedback is like, okay, you're missing this feature. I want
Hmm.
this feature. I want this to be better this way. But I think as we become more mature, as we are finished the catching up phase, there will be a lot more, kind of this more like a wish list that didn't exist in other software, right? For
Hmm.
example, in calling, we have heard feedback where people are like, hey, like if you guys are able to train an engine to recognize different scenes, like getting ready, cutting cake,
Yeah.
party, the kiss, and then be able to auto tag them, that would be great. And we're like, yeah, that's such a great idea. Once we finish the catch up phase, we will start to address them because ultimately, we will have to. The advantage of Polarr is we really control the whole environment, right? Like from calling to editing to exporting, we're all controlling. We're not like multiple apps, multiple plugins, so we're able to
Hmm.
ship those new features very quickly. The short answer is that yes, we always react to it, but that also give like a longer answer in terms of priorities. The feedback that we're very sensitive right now is more like just catching up to the competition.
Hmm.
But later on, once we finish this, we will start to become a lot more imaginative.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for answering that. I think it's important, especially for those here, and then for those who will watch the video later on. That Polarr Next, as for me as a professional photographer, never really encountered a program that like takes so much care into listening from their users and stuff, and maybe for good reason because they're so much bigger and they've got a lot more going on. But I really like this approach. And for those of you guys who are in chat, you guys got to look behind the curtain and seeing that long list that we've got going on. And, when you share your user feedbacks with us, during the live streams, whenever we get a one-on-one with you guys or during the interviews we do, you will be heard and, you might have a hand in this. And, one of these days a feature may roll out and be like, hey, that's something I might have suggested at one time. So really cool. All
Yeah.
right.
I mean, let me just give you one example, right? There was one, like, there are some really low hanging fruits. Like this export photo button that used to be an icon, and then we have one person who's like, I don't understand like where to export the icon. It's not intuitive. So we're just like, yeah, let's just change it to export photos. Very simple change. So
Mhm.
there's a button change. I'm just calling out. Some people say, okay, I don't know how many credits I have remaining left, so let's add that in. So these are kind of easy features. And then for something more complex, we
Mhm.
have one feedback from customer, and then multiple actually mentioned that I don't really know where my styles are.
Mhm.
So end of this week, we're gonna ship a new tab here where you can see my styles. We have
Mhm.
internal build that already does that, so you can see all the styles you've trained so far. You can manage them. You can rename them. You could, just go from there. So all of that is really just without talking to customers who have no idea. Maybe
Yeah.
we kind of knew, but we also wouldn't know like how important that truly is. And those are all the good examples. And keyboard shortcut is another huge one. So
Mm-hmm.
I remember like when we started the project, it was like, this is a very small list, and now there's a very long list of how people want the shortcut to be.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is from the users.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, man, you've come on here and showed us something really exciting with culling. Really, really eager to get my hands on it too, because I process my photos through a different culling app, and then I have to move it, and to be able to have it all in one, I can't imagine. Like, it'll just feel way more complete, way more fun. Yeah, fun. I don't know, like photo editing, culling, like that's fun again. It's not like this long, laggy, slow process. It's something that I can jump in quickly to a program, cull real fast, and edit. Like, I'm really looking forward to that experience.
All right, thank you, Aaron.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. A huge thank you to Borui for sharing that quick look at our future culling update and for interacting with our live audience. Remember, we host these live streams on the last Wednesday of every month, so be sure to join us for the next live stream on August 28th. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates, and make sure to join our Facebook group where you'll get notifications about the live stream times and other exciting news. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.